In this video, we're going to be talking about Noob Saibot's moveset. We're going to go over key normals, key special moves, and also just the rest of them, but hopefully it'll give you a clearer idea of all of his, main buttons and what different things are used for, what the special moves are used for, so you can have a proper understanding of his moveset and just get going with him. So, let's start off with buttons, and we'll start off with notable buttons. So, standing 2 is going to be your great punishing string. Forward 1 and back 3 are going to be your main mids. Forward 1 is mainly for footsies because it has pretty good range, so you can do a bit of like backdashes into it, and it has a really good string. Back 3 is faster at 12 frames, and it also has a really good string afterwards, and these are both really good mid strings that are completely safe. Then also to complement this low that's really fast, we have forward 3, which is an overhead, and it's also our longest reaching button. And then those are kind of the only real main normals we need to talk about. So standing 2 for your fast punishes. Most of your pressure is going to be done with, your forward 1, your back 3, and to mix up the low from the back 3, you've got your forward 3, and it's also your longest reaching button. So if you want to throw out something around this distance, it's going to be your forward 3. Now, he has a lot of other buttons, so let's quickly talk about what they're for. So his standing strings 1-2-1-2 and 2-1-2-1 have pretty similar functions. They are both very easy hit confirmable long strings where you can do 3 hits and then confirm into a special move, which is pretty rare in this game. Usually you only get 2 hits. So he's pretty privileged in that sense, and they act in almost the same way, except that just the 2-1-2-1 is kind of just better in every way almost. As you can see, it starts up in 7 frames, whereas standing 1 is in 9 frames, and also pushes the opponent a little further away, so it makes combos after the grapple a little bit easier, because the further the opponent is, the more plus you are, so getting combos like this is just easier. Also, the hits do a little bit more damage. The only thing that I would say about standing 1 that's better is that the standing 1 itself is +4. And that's one of Noob's only plus frames, and it's pretty good. +4 is a good number. But very easy hit confirm strings, very, very strong. Anytime you have plus frames, like after a poke, you want to be going for these strings because they're very good in staggers, and they're very easy to hit confirm. So if I know that my opponent ends up getting hit, I can easily be like, oh, let me confirm into a combo. As long as I can land my combos. Into something. Right. Then, so we've got those standing strings. There are also slightly alternative versions of those. So you can just do like 2-1-2-1 or 1-2-1-2, and they're just, a bunch of mids in a row basically. But you can be sneaky, and they've got some overheads and lows options in them too. So off of standing 1, if I go 1-2-3, then he has this big overhead kick, which is also plus on block. So kind of a running theme is that from standing 1 you get some plus frames, and this you get a sneaky overhead, and from standing 2 you can go 2-4, which just goes straight into a low. So we're mixing in, it's not a straight 50-50 because it's off of different hits in a string, but throwing in these random, overheads and lows are gonna catch people when they don't completely know his moveset yet. Also from 2-1 we can go 2-1-4, which then is an overhead. So now we have another overhead just mixed in random places. And this one actually is a launcher, particularly in the corner, but in the mid-screen we can at least get a teleport. So either they're very easy to hit confirm strings, or they've got some sneaky mix in them for you to mix up your opponent, either by mixing with your cameo, or he's got even some mixed special moves which we'll get into later. So standing buttons are pretty good. I guess quickly to talk about standing buttons. Standing 3 is kind of unique, but I don't know how useful it's going to be. It is a launcher where you can see that it hits and then just go into a combo, which is pretty rare in this game for a single button, and it is also safe. So kind of unique, but nothing crazy, I don't think. And standing 4-4-3 is just pretty similar to like 1-2-3 or 2-1-4. Like, it's just a high that goes into a little bit of mix, and it does a decent amount of damage for a string. And it's a good way of going into cameo extensions and stuff. So nothing crazy there. Then we have these mid strings from forward 1. And like we mentioned, this is one of our key normals, because it leads into good stuff, and it's a great mid that reaches a decent range. So we've got forward 131, which is the string I suggest, but we also have forward 122. Forward 122, it seems like the main advantage of it is that it does a little bit more damage. So if you know that you have the punish and you want to get, you know, optimal combos, I suppose you would go for this one. Because it'll give you a little bit more damage in your combos. But as you can see, the hits are either very unsafe or leave you pretty minus right in front of the opponent's face. Whereas forward 1-3, not only does it have a sneaky low in there, the second hit is basically safe. And the third hit is completely safe. So in terms of frame data and mix, it's just generally a lot better. It just does a little bit less damage, but you still get great combos from it. No problemo. So a very good string, and because the frames are so good on it, you can kind of like stagger the hits, do a little bit of a backdash, do one, backdash, one, do the full string. It's a really, really good mid to have. It's just a little bit slow, which is why it's good. Then we have this other mid that's actually a low that is 12 frames. So this back 3 string is also a really, really good string. It goes back 3, 3, 4, and just like the other string, it's completely safe, or effectively safe. There are some edge case scenarios which this can be punished, but basically safe. And from, you know, a really great mid that's actually a low, a fast hitting low, that is really, really strong. And it does have a unique pop-up that, well, not a unique pop-up, but a pop-up that'll be very easy to extend using cameos. Anything like Scorpion, Movado, Striker easily will extend off of this, so having that potential is really, really cool. And it's just a great mid, and that once again can really easily link into combos. And then instead of forward 3, instead of back 3, which is the low string, which is really good, goes into combos, then we have forward 3 to complement it. Nothing too crazy about it. Like I mentioned, it is your longest reaching normal, but it is just a splat. You're not going to get any kind of extension off of this unless it's like the Movado OTG. And yeah, it has a pretty good knockdown though. Plus 47 means that you can go for like a meaty fireball or something if you want to start getting the ghost effect on the opponent. And yeah, you can set things up pretty decently there. Get a meaty tackle if you time it correctly. That can be decently plus, like the projectile, depending on how you time them. So yeah, not bad. Just like nothing crazy about it, or you can just use the long knockdown to dash in. But really good to complement the fact that you have this low, which is a really, really good low string. So the mix is going to be strong. Then to finish off our 4 buttons, we have our back 4, which is his sweep, and it's probably one of the best sweeps in the game. It's pretty similar to Omni-Man's, where he has that extra strike that adds a lot of damage, and this is honestly going to be something you're using in your combos to get optimal damage, because anytime you're ending a combo that has a little bit of a bounce, and it's quite extended, this is probably the most damaging way you can end, because a single strike that's 12 frames that does 120 damage is pretty good for that. So like say if I have a combo like this, and I've ended in this string's bounce, I can just end in that, and it's just a damaging way of ending my combos, and the opponent is left really close to me. So in between your teleport and your sweep, those are going to be the 2 main ways of ending your combos that leave you close to the opponent and do good damage. And then those are all of his basic normals. His pokes are nothing to like be super astounded by, but it's good that there's nothing crappy about them. Like a pretty decent down 4, to be honest. It's got pretty great range. It may even have some low profiling properties where you go under other buttons. And the down 1 is decent, nothing bad about it. That's just a good thing that there's nothing bad about them, to be honest. But down 2 is a different thing. It's your uppercut, and it's probably the best in the game. Because the shadow comes out, it does the uppercut, so it's not like he's gonna get his hand clapped when he tries to anti-air someone. Also, it goes so high, way higher than any other down 2 in the game. So even at the peak of someone's jump, you're going to be able to down to them, which is really strong to be able to catch people doing like weird like floats in the air or dive kicks, because you're just going to smack him out of the air with your giant ass clone shadow thing. So great down to, great down to. And those are all of his normals. We can quickly talk aerial strings, not too complicated, he only has 2. So he either has 2, 3, 4, which is just this bounce, and it is a really good bounce where if you have a decent launcher, you can actually do it into itself because it's such a good bounce, which is really fun. And then he's got 1, 2, 3, 4, which is a slightly more damaging string, and it can link into your teleport very easily. That's going to be a very, very consistent way of ending your combos, even if they're quite long. So most of your combos are either going to end in this string into teleport, or this string, 2, 3, 4, into your sweep. That's going to be like 90% of your combos. So pretty good. Now, let's get into special moves. It's been said that Noob has some of the most complex movesets in the game, but I'm not sure that's the case. And I think the easiest way to talk about his specials is from distance, because as like a pseudo-complex zoner or all-rounder, they have different uses at different ranges. So if we're completely full screen, what does he have? Well, we know he has the Ghost Ball, down forward 1, which is just kind of a standard projectile, just a little slow, pretty similar to Rain's to be honest. But it throws a projectile and it puts this like green aura on the opponent, and while that aura is on the opponent, the same input will detonate the aura, and the opponent will explode, be launched for a full combo. And if this is done, you know, in a combo, then that's just a really great way of launching the opponent. Getting meterless damage and like 35% is very, very powerful. Or you can kind of combine it into your zoning, where you can detonate it like perhaps the opponent's doing something, or you have a situation like that where you know you can detonate it to catch them and get a combo from full screen. It is really, really cool and really, really powerful. The projectile itself is pretty good. It can be quite plus from full distances, as you can see there is like plus 11. But the detonation is not something you want to do if you think the opponent will block, because it's always going to be minus 19. It's not advantageous at all. Of course, it's safe to do it from full screen, but there's not really much point, especially when you have other options, which we'll get into now. So, once again, let me just make myself actually full screen. So we've got this, we've got the detonation, we've also got our clone run, which is back forward 3. This is probably the second most common projectile to be throwing out from this distance. It's pretty good. It gives you like slight plus frames from full screen, like +1. But what's really good about it is it's kind of a really non-standard projectile where it does more damage, it knocks down, but it knocks the opponent towards you. So you can get complete Oki off of this. You can get like a well-timed jump in that will break the opponent's armor if you do the jump in into a button quickly. You get the timing right. You need to practice that. But you can just do a bunch of dash ups. You can do almost 3 dashes into a completely meaty button. You can go for your mix, overhead, low. It's just amazing that once you land this projectile, it's completely your turn to go for whatever style of pressure you want. And you can use this advantage to like set up some of your weird setup-y things that we'll talk about in a bit. It's just really, really, really good. It gives you so much advantage for whatever you really want to do. Just, it's slightly unfortunate that it's slightly slow traveling, but I wouldn't even say it's that slow traveling of a projectile. Especially since up close, it's, what, 18 frames startup, then plus the travel time. Really not that bad. Then, another option is down back 2, which is throwing this portal on the screen. Now, this is pretty similar to Rain's, like a whirlpool. It's not something you're going to be using particularly often, especially in a zoning scenario. Because if you don't have some kind of shield up or something, it's just not going to work. And even if you do have like Sub-Zero ice armor, the opponent can just run in, jump on you, and you die for trying to throw this out. It's very slow, but it's very, very cool. So if you do have a circumstance where you think you can do it, perhaps the opponent's in recovery, or they're waking up for something, or you've like done this and then you can set it up on top of them, it's really good. It can be super plus, it's automatically +6. It's a low. You have to choose which distance you throw it at. So you can like throw it here and you have the opponent accidentally walk into it or land on it. Very, very strong, and there is definitely setup potential with it as well. So cool, but not something you want to rely on. The next thing, which is probably something that might make people pretty upset is that, yeah, he's got the slide back. So this is a full screen low that's pretty fast for a full screen low. And the only drawback is it has a little bit of recovery time, so the shadow takes a little bit to come back, and while he's not back, you don't have your shadow attacks. Like my down 2 there is like the crappier version, and I can't do any of my other clone attacks. So when I don't have the clone, I can still do a decent amount of things. I can do my regular projectile, I can do my teleport, and I can do some of my strings like this one. But anything that includes my clone, like this, I won't be able to do. So that's just a little bit of a drawback, but having a full screen low like this is so powerful. And even if you have done it and you're in the drawback, then you can just do this version, which is kind of goofy, but it's effectively just a Sub-Zero slide, just slightly worse. And a Sub-Zero slide is very strong, especially in this game, where you can like cover any mistake with a cameo. And as long as you like time it correctly, you slightly know how to use cameo, then you can keep anything safe. So another really good full screen option. So far we have regular projectile that can set up for really good combos later, a really interesting projectile that leads to tons of advantage, and a fast low projectile. We also have aerial projectiles, where if I just do them quickly off of the ground or like do them delayed in the air, I can shoot straight across the screen. So if I think my opponent is going to try and jump because they think I'm throwing a really slow fireball or a slow running man or something, they're going to jump in the air. No, I'm just going to shoot this ninja kick across the screen, and they'll get launched straight back to full screen, and then they have to deal with my zoning. Pretty awful for them, pretty good for you. Another similar option is the dive kick. So if you're moving around in the air and you think they're trying to dash in, or they're trying to jump, or they're trying to anti-air you, this dive kick will basically catch all of those options, which is really, really strong and really, really cool. It's got a great angle on it. It can connect from basically full screen if you do a forwards jump, which is really, really powerful. And they can even connect from, point blank. So it can connect from anywhere on the screen as long as you jump correctly. And this thing is strong. Like, its frame data is not bad at all. So if I do it from full screen, -10, that is nothing for a dive kick. But even if I do it like as something around here, being able to do like instant dive kick from this distance, and it's like -8, to mix up me from going like a regular jump and having them miss their anti-air because I go for a dive kick and then do this, and it's only -13, is really, really strong, because people are not going to be able to punish that, or at least they're not going to be able to punish that consistently. So a very, very strong move. The amplified version does technically lead to combos. A lot of these projectiles actually will lead to combos on amplification. So if I do this, they get that little bit of a twirl, and then I get to go for a full combo afterwards. Same with the tackle. They get tossed over to the other side, and you get a full combo. And they all lead to pretty similar combos. And this one, of course, just by default leads to a combo. Even the regular projectile, you can just detonate it when it hits the opponent, but it does cost you 2 bars, and I don't know how worth it that is unless you're winning the game. So we've got lots of zoning one more zoning option that I think is actually going to be the most annoying for people. We've got all these projectiles, we can cover every angle of the screen, we can spam random things. Yeah, they're slightly slow, but they're pretty good. But if somehow we're not feeling that zhuzh, we're not feeling that game plan, you're going to probably see a lot of this from Noob Saibot players. Just jumping backwards, running away, and as soon as you press something or throw one projectile, we've got a teleport. We can do the teleport from the ground, from the air, and he goes straight upwards, so as soon as he does this, he's basically invincible. Appears behind you and teleport and grabs you. Pretty fast, can easily react to projectiles or buttons with this. It's gonna be a pain. It is a high, but if you throw in a projectile, you're still gonna get hit. So this is unfortunately gonna be a game plan you're gonna see a lot, and they can even amplify it. I kind of struggle to amplify something without a button. There we go. And it leads to full combos, which you may not want to experience if you've just thrown a projectile and don't feel like you deserve to be hit by a full combo. But it's gonna happen anyways. So yeah, really, really strong game plan from full screen from Noob Saibot, purely from his special moves, and you don't even factor in any cameo stuff. As we get slightly closer to the opponent, this is going to be where we're going to use significantly less of those special moves. We're definitely not going to be using this. we're probably not going to be using like the projectile from this distance unless you're really playing footsies and you're sure. One thing you might be using from this distance though is the tackle, because when we start to get into this distance it becomes really easy to convert from it. So you don't have to be in a combo to convert from this thing. If you're just in decent distance and you have some experience with the character and you know like what can convert in different situations, you can get conversions from a lot of different distances in different ways. And they can lead to pretty significant damage, so I would suggest if you want to be a high-level noob player, learn what conversions you can do from this at different distances and what is like the easiest or most damaging option to go for in different situations. So that can be pretty cool, and once again it's relatively safe from this distance as well, which is kind of, you know, is good. And this is the distance where, yeah, we're moving from not so much using special moves, but more so using normals. We can go for a dash in into our forward 1, or go for our forwards 3, which are, you know, both really good buttons, as we have mentioned, but special moves are going to be less so. Now, once we are up close, he does have a few interesting new ways of using special moves, or new special moves altogether. Like, down back 4 is just a straight up low. A low special move, yeah, it's very unsafe, but when you have all of these overheads in your toolkit that you can now switch out for a low, that's pretty strong. You don't even need a cameo like Striker or whatever to give you the mix-ups, he just has them on his own. So any of these strings, like, this has an overhead in it, this has an overhead in it, this is an overhead, this has an overhead in it. There's a lot of situations where you can switch out those overheads for a low and just get that cheeky little knockdown and a bit of damage. And if you want to go for an armor attack, it's also your armor attack when it's amplified. Going through the opponent's pressure, nope, no thank you. Now you're knocked down and right in my face, and ready to take my own mix. When we're close, he also has... Of course, you're going to be using your special moves for combos when you're up close. Like if you have this on the opponent, then you're going to use it for combos. And if you've gotten a hit confirm, like, you're going to be using this to go for combos as well. Of course. But things that are, you know, slightly different, like perhaps you have pressure or something going. He has down back 3, which is a launcher, but it's pretty unique. Because the regular version, there's not really much you can get off of it. It's pretty hard to convert unless you like time a little bit of a dash into a buttons, but it's certainly doable. And you can get a little bit of a small extension off of it. But what's cool is it's kind of like a no-brain launcher, because as you can see, it's -4. Not even -7 or anything. It's completely safe. Yes, it's a high, but it's a special move, and people aren't just randomly ducking special moves in the middle of your 4-hit long pressure sequences. So you can kind of just do any button or string into this, and it's going to be completely safe. And if you learn how to convert from that, that's a completely safe way of you going on offense and getting, like, not even hit confirms, just hit auto confirms. Because if the opponent gets hit, then you get to go for a combo. Now, I will admit that some of these combos are pretty tight, especially from different buttons that don't leave you super close to the opponent. But being able to just do this at all and have the potential of getting combos and damage from something that's completely safe is pretty strong in my opinion. And the same thing applies for the amplified version. It is also -4, and it's a slightly better launcher. You still don't get like jump-in combos, or at least not easily. Oh yeah, perhaps you can get this string, I suppose. But yeah, it's the same thing, just slightly better. So you can like dash in and go for more different buttons if you find the combos from the other one a little bit too hard. But yeah, really good, really powerful having safe launchers, and a meterless safe launcher, no less. So, big strengths when it comes up close. You've got mixed game, and you've also got kind of like random safety launcher brainless game. It's very interesting. Oh, and before we get to the crazy final part, we also have a final version of the dive kick where it's straight downwards. So if you're trying to jump in on the opponent and you like it's not a good angle to actually go for the dive kick, like you're like going like this, you know, that's not advised. So we have a different version where you just press down 4 and you'll just do a straight down dive kick. It's pretty good, and just like the regular version, it can be amplified to go for a combo. The combo can be kind of weird though, because the way the opponent slumps makes it so you can't hit things, and also, like you saw there, for my standing 2, you don't have your shadow, like for my down 2 there. So you have to go for a combo that will not involve any shadow stuff. You can do stuff like this pretty easily, but yeah, being able to get a combo from that is pretty cool. And it's going to be a good way of interrupting the opponent's down 2s or attempted anti-airs, stuff like that. Okay, now let's get to the slightly more interesting weird bit. Yes, we have Embrace Chaos, which is half circle back 1. So we activate the hand, and I'm sure you've heard about this, and it's kind of the cool, unique part of Noob Saibot. He gets to do this once per the whole game, so all of the matches in one game, you only get to do it once. And it only lasts around like 10 seconds. And when it runs out, you also have the nerf where you don't have any shadow attacks for the rest of the round. It does come back the next round though, so it's not too bad. So basically you just become super combo man for 10 seconds. And not only can you get super long combos, but everything you do turns into a combo. So the opponent just has to be really scared that they don't get hit by anything, because they're going to get hit by super long combos, and anything that they do get hit by is going to kill them. So it includes everything that involves the shadow basically, including most, intriguingly, the throw. So the throw does more damage and it now launches the opponent. And all the launches are basically the same, so you can basically go for the same combos we always go for, which makes it really easy to convert. You don't need to have any like edge case unique conversions for all of these. They'll always just kind of be the same thing. So when we say everything, we mean everything, including the slide. Oh, it looks like it just hit the opponent. No, then they fall into a portal, and then you go for the combos. If I hit them with a dive kick, they also fall into a portal. We go for combos, and it only works once for each of the things, but you can like overlap multiple of them. So say if I get this one, if I do the dive kick there, as you can see the dive kick also goes into it. So you can get a huge number of rejuggles with this as long as you learn how to combo them all together. And although it may not be practical or optimal, you can kind of see it in this situation I do here. So if I go for this one, launch, go for this one, oopsie. Oops, oh, there wasn't the shadow there. But yeah, you can do literally all of your shadow special moves, and they will all lead into the relaunch, no matter what. Oh crap. You have to learn the timing a little bit, and there are going to be some crazy awesome combos, but just the fact that anything you do is going to lead into a full combo is beyond cool. Whoopsie. But yeah, make sure you practice so that you don't drop the combo awkwardly. If you are unsure, it's probably best to just go for a simple combo that you know works rather than dropping the combo and maybe getting punished. But it's very cool, very crazy, and that's not the end of it. There is even more that you can do in this state. So you get some slightly new strings and stuff as well. Like off of this forward 1-3 string that we have before, normally we could just end it like this, which was really good. But now we can be even better. We have this forward 1-3 2-2. So a very high damaging string, but now it's a 3-hit confirmable mid that the third hit is safe from, and then the fourth hit is also completely safe. So now you have like the easiest hit confirm in the world from a great mid, and well, we're in combo crazy mode, so everything we do is gonna lead into a huge, long, ridiculous combo. Like, did he need to be even stronger? And he gets a completely like screw neutral move, where it's this projectile that tracks the opponent, is very plus on block, +6, hits anywhere on the screen, and leads to a full combo. So it's kind of just an alternative version of this, but is special to this mode. Just another way of launching the opponent. because apparently we didn't have enough already. So chaos mode is cool. I think, in my opinion though, the best part is that you can combo from your throw. That is just so unique and so rare in this game. And I really think the it's balanced quite... Oh, not expired. I think it's balanced quite interestingly, because even though when you don't have your clone, Noob Saibot isn't completely helpless. He can still do full combos, he still has his best buttons. And then you just have the option of going into crazy mode once per match. It's really, really fun. But that is all of Noob's kit, except for his Fatal Blow is, it's a Fatal Blow. It does reach anywhere on the screen and is a low, so it is unique in that. You can easily react to projectiles or whatever, but it's a Fatal Blow. The rest of his moveset is what is most interesting to me. So hopefully that, little bit of a ramble about all of his buttons and things was helpful to you, and it made a little bit of a, made some concise-ification in your mind of what Noob is doing. So just to quickly recap, 2-1-2-1-2, 2-1-2-1 is his best punish string. It's very easy to hit confirm, great for pressure, great for staggers. Forward 1 and back 3 are his best mids. They're both good for slightly different situations, and to complement the back 3 you have forward 3, which is an overhead that reaches really far. That's what you're going to be doing most of the time up close. From afar, we can spam our projectiles, which are all slightly plus from a distance, and they all lead to pretty good advantage. The ball projectile leads to the ability to get high damaging free combos, which is its advantage. The tackle's advantage is that it leaves you super plus on hit to go for Mix and Oki on their wake up, even from full screen. If you manage to land this, the reward is just straight up a full combo. And then you have other options for covering the opponent trying to dodge anything that you're doing. You can cover with a dive kick or a straight kick. It's very, very strong zoning. And of course we also have the teleport, which is probably going to be the most annoying part about his moveset, because you can amplify it and go for a combo at any time, and it's going to be really easy to go around projectiles or whiffed moves. And then up close, his pressure is pretty good because he's got great staggers, but a lot of overheads and lows scattered throughout his moveset, which he can mix in with this low special move. And if you feel like being a little bit brainless with your hit confirms, even though he has great hit confirm strings, well, you can use this safe launcher to just hit the opponent for free, basically. And whenever you get any of these hits, basically all of your special moves lead to full combos, and everything's going to go into relatively the same combo, something like this, where you go for 2 aerial strings in a row. Either it's going to be the 2 different strings or the same string into a sweep, and you're always going to get like 35%, and that is Noob Saibot. So hopefully that was helpful for you. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye bye.